Going, everybody. Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. And it is Monday here on the show. You know what that means? Well, we got all the Monday stuff. We got Raw tonight. We got NXT tomorrow. Got Dynamite on Wednesday. We had a Collision and a Smackdown this past weekend. So, of course, we're going to talk about all of that and more. On Friday, well, kind of figured it was coming, and boy, did it ever. WWE did a bunch of roster cuts. We had a number of people from the main roster, 5 main roster wrestlers, and 11 NXT talents. And that's it for now. I don't think I've heard anything more new today. But spring cleaning, as normally happens, and many of them were folks that, when you watched NXT last Tuesday, if you watched that NXT show, it seemed like they got rid of some people on air, which is basically what happened. So we'll tell you about all the people released, and also New Japan Dontaku, the final New Japan match of Tetsuya Naito, who was gone, and on his way out, he drew a gigantic crowd, because whatever you want to say about his future and such, he was a big draw, the biggest draw for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we've got, of course, Resurgence coming up and a lineup for that. If you want to text us here today, 425-780-7566. That is 425-780-7566. F4WOnline@gmail.com. F4W Online Threads, Instagram, and Cameo. $10 cameos at 4W Online. At Bryan Alvarez on X and Blue Sky. Filthy Tom Lawlor joining us after the break. Back in a moment. Observer Live. Granny, what's happening? What do we got for the wrestling report here today?
Talk or something.
Talk or something.
So Niven comes in, jumps on Bailey with her overweight body a couple of times, doesn't mind playing dirty, leaves Bailey on the mat in lots of pain. I found this book. It's called Limericks from the Heart.
Is this a Lanny Poffo book?
Let me finish this one. This guy's name is Lanny Poffo. And there are 335 pages in here. Can you guess what it's about?
Smoking.
Oh,
Sean the Wizard.
Have you read it?
We read it every week for about 6 months.
When I first started.
Wow.
Why don't we start reading some questions, and we'll see if we can spur some answers out of Granny. Shall we try?
No, I don't think so.
Let's try.
Then you'll really find out how dumb I am.
Granny, did you know there was a wrestling bear?
No, and I don't care.
All right.
It's a bear that wrestled people.
I still don't care.
Okay.
Is Granny frozen?
Granny, you frozen?
No, I'm ready to read my report.
Your picture is frozen.
It is?
Yeah. Or you're doing a great job as a ventriloquist.
Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, or whatever his last name is. Paul Newman is watching this match, and he's not on Cody's side. What's the matter?
Absolutely nothing. Everything's great.
You know, Cody did say that he was looking for a manager. I think him and Paul Newman would be a...
What a handsome pair.
Yeah. A dashing duo.
That guy's a movie star, isn't he?
Since you're on the phone, why don't we just jump right into your wrestling report and such, and then we'll let you go and we'll do Facebook without you.
Can I lay the phone down and you guys, can you hear me?
You can try. Why don't you give it a shot?
Okay.
Oh, boy. It's going to be a disaster. I can already tell.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's all right, I guess.
Go ahead.
No, it's your segment. You're gonna read
us jokes?
or your wrestling report or whatever. I see Granny has now put the phone back up to her ear.
I'm just, for now.
Do you have the soaps or anything else, Granny, or are we, is that it?
I want to quit for now.
Okay. Well,
No more.
instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe. There we go. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Filthy Tom Lawlor is joining us here today, although he is furiously struggling with something over there. You all right?
Struggling with everything, my man.
Well,
But I'm here to support you.
that's right. We are here, everybody, and we got a lot to get into. And I got to start off with this actually, since a lot of people listening to this show listen to all the shows over the weekend, so they know about the cuts. But if you don't know about them, we'll tell you about that in a second here. But first off, Dr. Carlton Kolker of Peak Wellness has filed a defamation lawsuit against attorney Ann Callis. She represents Janelle Grant in her lawsuit against WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis, which alleges sexual abuse, sex trafficking, workplace misconduct. In that case, Grant's team contends that Kolker and Peak Wellness facilitated her abuse by administering unapproved treatments, providing unidentified substances, and enabling McMahon's control over her. They also claim Peak Wellness has failed to provide complete documentation related to Grant's treatment. Kolker, through his attorneys, filed a 41-page complaint on Friday, which I've not yet seen, in the U.S. District Court for the District of Connecticut, alleging that Callis and the Holland law firm defamed him and his clinic via press releases distributed to media outlets and statements made during a live-streamed press conference on YouTube. The filing asserts that all relevant medical records were delivered to Grant's legal team last summer, includes emails relating to this as evidence. Kolker's team also denies that Grant was ever given unidentified substances and states that she did not raise concerns when ending her treatment in 2022. Kolker is seeking punitive damages, alleging that Callis and her firm knowingly spread false information about him and his business. As of now, Callis has not responded to the lawsuit. So, there you go. That is the latest. And we are still waiting for the judge to rule on whether or not the Vince McMahon, WWE, John Laurinaitis, Janelle Grant lawsuit should go to arbitration or if it should continue. And that could be years, which seems amazing when you think about it. Seems like it should be, well, should it or not? But still nothing. So that is the latest on that. Tom, did you watch Naito's last New Japan match?
I did not watch the match. To be honest, I probably haven't watched a Naito match in a while.
Wow.
But, did he turn back the clock here? I thought what the biggest story coming out of it was his post-match comments, to be fair.
Well, he had his final match, teaming with Bushi and Hiromu. Bushi also leaving, by the way. Kind of a package deal, old Bushi and Naito. And they beat Taichi Ishii, Taka Michinoku, and Shota Umino when Shingo, who was also on the team, pinned Michinoku. Then they all raised each other's hands. The crowd cheered for Naito. They had a LIJ salute. The music played. And they left with their head held high, so they did not damage him on the way out. And it was the largest crowd in the city of Fukuoka for a wrestling show in 6 years. And I don't think that was because of Haruki Goto and Callum Newman in the main event.
Yeah, Fukuoka, I believe that might be the hometown of Jeff Cobb. I could be wrong on that, but Naito, after the match, backstage, gave these comments, Brian. He said, "I'm not sure if it will be the next tour or next year or the year after. I don't even know if it'll be the New Japan ring, but you'll see me again somewhere.
Well, negotiations fell through.
Not due to money.
It was full. It was funny because, I mean, all of us basically heard that it was just money, and then he did an interview, and he goes, "It wasn't money." But then the rest of the interview is about how it was money. I think what he was upset about was the idea that he just kept demanding more and more and more and more and more. I think his story is basically, they made me an offer and I was like, I'm out of here. There wasn't like a back and forth or negotiation or anything. But if they made him an offer and he didn't like it and he was out of there, that's about money, right? So anyway, it's hard because, if you watch a lot of Naito matches, which Tom says he hasn't.
Well, not recently. I mean, if he's going to take his shirt off, I'll watch the match.
The reality is he is a shell of his former self in the ring, yet still the most over guy in the company. So it's a tough decision to make. And you can see, I mean, listen, he may have been insulted by the offer and everything like that, but it's not like they're offering everybody else all this money and not him. They're obviously cutting costs in a lot of different places, and nobody's making giant money. And I mean, what are we going to do with Naito now? What is there left to do, especially in the physical state that he's in? So, I mean, maybe he'll be back someday. I mean, maybe they can work something out. But that was it for now.
I'd pay to see Naito take on the new Hayabusa. How about that?
Yeah, you sprung it on us like a week ago. Hayabusa's back, you said. And we were like, what? And you go, he had a match. And Mike and I are like, Hayabusa had a match? What? And then you revealed it was a new Hayabusa. So he's not back. There's a new Hayabusa. That's how you have to say it.
Yes, Brian.
Yes.
But the character has returned. It's like La Parka is back in AAA, but I don't need to tell everybody it's not L.A. Park or the former La Parka.
So now that, in fact, Callum Newman did not win the IWGP Heavyweight title. It might come as a shocker to some of you, but he didn't win. So we now have, what's next? After the match, after Goto beat him, he was confronted by Zack Sabre Jr. and Shingo. And so at Resurgence, which is coming up on May 9th in Ontario, California, which is, basically the home of the Young Bucks, who are also on the show. We're going to get Goto, Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP Heavyweight title in the rematch. Also got Takeshita versus ELP for the Never Openweight title. They had the ELP Takeshita match for ELP's title, went to a draw. So we'll see what happens in this match. We got Ishii versus Drilla Maloney for the Strong Openweight title. We got Mercedes versus Izumi and Mina Shirakawa for the Strong Women's title. We have the World Class Wrecking Crew against Templario and TJP. We got Gabe Kidd, David Finlay, Clark Connors, and Ghetto versus the Young Bucks and TBA. What are you doing that night, Tom?
It's not me.
God,
I think it's going to be some good brothers.
Me and you and the Young Bucks.
It ain't you either.
What an 8-man that would be. Fred Rosser versus Matt Vandegrift. And Alan Breeze versus CJ Tino. No Filthy Tom on the show.
Thanks for reminding me.
Well, I didn't know if maybe. I mean, I don't know.
I will be at the sold-out MLW Lucha Azteca show on Saturday evening. And then Sunday, Mother's Day, JCW in Asbury Park. Mothers Get In Free, where I will beat the one called Manders, and I will be the one who holds the WXW world title.
I wish this JCW was the Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
I have main evented one of their shows as well, actually, at the Gathering 2 years ago.
I would like the Insane Clown Posse to have made that offer to all mothers. You can come in free on Mother's Day.
I think they'll take any female.
All those Juggalo moms, they're out there. Don't think they're not. Darby Allin.
This is a great story.
You like this segue?
Oh, great
Darby
story.
Allin is, in fact, climbing Mount Everest. And I'm going to tell you the world record that he set after the break. Because we are going to go to a break. And when we come back, we're going to tell you what this guy did. And there's actually a part of the story that I find funnier than the actual world record. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Let's do this unnecessary censorship.
Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just your ass.
That was terrible. Horrible. They weren't the Heart Foundation. They weren't the British Bulldogs, okay? They're two geeks. And this celebration these guys did.
Oh.
I mean, they're like, Sean, give me brother. Yeah.
A place like that?
You two dorks. That's what you did. Why are you so excited?
Because they're awesome.
Okay. That was better than the first one.
It picked up at the end there.
Yes.
Unnecessary censorship.
He beat him. And 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 he beat him. I'm sweating.
Time to stop.
And he beat him.
Was this edited?
And then he beat him. And he beat him. I actually wore that shirt. It just says he beat him, he beat him, he beat him all the way down. Like,
All the way down, you say?
I dropped her off at camp, and the camp counselor just looks at me. She goes, he beat him and beat him. I was like, gag gift.
Brian, would you for me again this week? It's too hot to do much.
That's true. It is too hot to do much.
I guess I just better do it because it came up for me.
I'll wait.
It won't come up again. It's pretty short, so I'll just do it. Yeah. Now I gotta find it back.
Okay.
It isn't
Dale, I'm
coming
gonna
up.
kill you. How about you just it? Okay.
Ouch.
What else we got, Vinny? The granny licks her finger to turn the page. Lick that finger. There'll be
Page
an
2.
unnecessary censorship coming up. Lick that. Okay, let's see. Unnecessary censorship.
So Oro Ethan after the match and gets his ass just into the earth.
Vinny.
And Ethan is leaving, holding his all confident. And then Oro just comes back to life, and now he Ethan's ass.
Oro jumps him from behind.
Yep.
Then he his ass after cheap shotting the guy. Haha. That was interesting. That's quite unnecessary. Instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe. So, Darby's climbing Mount Everest. He's at 20,958 feet. And he is now a world record holder. He posted a video to Instagram on Monday, so he's still got cell service, showing himself landing a kickflip on a skateboard at 20,958 feet. To the best of public knowledge, it says here, this is the first documented world record for a highest elevation kickflip. I mean, that's pretty cool and everything like that, but I think the thing to me is I've never hiked Everest, you know? I'm not like a big-time hiker, but I have hiked. And I always thought the idea was like, you know, when you're going to do a long, arduous hike, you want to pack light. He's climbing Mount Everest and took his skateboard with him. He's hiking with his skateboard. His skateboard is like in his gear. It's like in his gear bag, a skateboard. So I guess he's going to try and do a kickflip probably at the top of the mountain when he gets there. So good luck. Darby is doing great, said Dorji Sherpa, who was his guide. It took 3.5 hours. It was nice and clear, great views. Tomorrow we're going to continue our acclimatization with a hike. A nearby hill at 5,540 meters. So all the best to Darby. That's quite the hike. No joke.
Yeah. Brian, a typical skateboard weighs between 3 and 5 pounds.
Yeah, it does. But you know what?
So-
It takes up space, dude.
Yeah,
Takes up space.
I'm just simply
And
giving
it's
a
another
fact.
5 pounds. Now you're defending it is what you're doing. I know you. Like you were defending Ava the other day. Tom, listen, I got all the respect in the world for you because you know exactly what buttons to push. I hope you're proud of yourself.
I am.
I know.
But just not in this case.
Look at your face.
I'm more proud of Darby for climbing with an extra
I am
5
too.
pounds.
I'm far more proud of him than for you looking up how much a skateboard weighs. Now, got a lot of people cut. How come you don't like all my segues today?
What was that?
Moving on to the next story.
I'm sorry. I just cannot think about these cuts without thinking every time of Nick Gage calling out Shotzi for a match. Do you remember this right before Shotzi got signed
I don't remember.
to
this.
bury the lead?
Yeah, it's burying the lead, all right. Nick Gage versus Shotzi.
Well, he had just wrestled Priscilla Kelly, who, you can mention in a second as well. But then he goes, I want Shotzi. He's like, what?
Shotzi's.
Yeah. And then the match never happened.
I think that was
because
when
got
she was
signed.
in Maximum Male Models. She was Shotzi's. All right, they cut Braun Strowman, and they cut Shayna Baszler. And I mentioned both of them first because, the reason, largely the reason, is they're a little bit older, and they had pretty big money deals, especially Braun. And, there was a feeling of we've done probably about as much as we can do with them, and we're paying them a lot of money, and we got a lot of people coming up, and so that's that. Now, WWE still does want to do something with Ronda Rousey. Shayna Baszler obviously retired Ronda Rousey, or at least her last match in WWE. She ran her off. So I could not say that there is no chance we will ever see Shayna Baszler again. And really, Braun Strowman, he got rehired. You guys remember why he was rehired? It was never publicly stated, but the reality was they fired the guy, and then they had all of these other giants that they were going to have replace Braun Strowman. And with all due respect, they all sucked, and they realized actually he was a pretty good giant, so they brought him back. But now he's on his way out, probably because we got a bunch of Obafemis and such in the wings that will be up probably sooner rather than later. But I cannot say we'll never see Shayna again because if they make a deal with Ronda and Ronda wants Shayna back, she'll be back. So there's that. Dakota Kai was probably the biggest surprise, I would say. And, I mean, I don't know what the story is there other than, and I don't know if this is official, but I was kind of told unofficially that Damage Control's done. The group it's done. And that probably means that maybe, Asuka and Kairi might come back as a tag team. And Io's obviously a big star, single star. And maybe they just figure that, Dakota, she's not going to be at the level of an Io. Doesn't have a partner. We don't do a 6-man, 6-woman division. So, she got cut. But that one is surprising.
Brian, are Asuka and Kairi injured? Is that what's going on here?
Well, Asuka was injured. Kairi, I think, could return at any time. She was injured.
She's
but I think
jacked.
She's jacked now. She's training hard. Caden Carter and Katana Chance were released. And
Mike must be crying.
And now he's celebrating. He didn't like him. But
I know.
I got nothing against Caden or Katana, really. But my point with Katana is, she was obviously very small, but she was very athletic. And when she first showed up, I mean, she wasn't ready for the main roster, but it was very obvious when you watched her that, like, she could be a female Ray, where, like, little girls would just be like, oh, my God, she's my favorite wrestler. She climbs the pole as her ring entrance, does all these flips. She's really small. But they put her in a team as party girls. And, I mean, I thought they were a fine team, but, you know, that was just, I think they felt that was as far as they were going to get. And someone here in the chat says the women's division got gutted. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe the main roster.
Well, as of Friday, the women's division got gutted, but the women's division got gutted because they have tons of women, and they're going to see a bunch of them coming up to the main roster soon. I mean, do you remember when they started the U.S. and the women's intercontinental title? And I was like, we do not need these. Oh, Bryan, you're sex, blah, blah, blah. No, it's there aren't that many women on the main roster. Why do we need a secondary singles title when we have like 11 women on one roster and 13 on the other? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. So then I looked at the NXT roster, and NXT, and I'm not talking like developmental, I'm talking the NXT television show, 30 women on the NXT television show, which is obviously way too many. And we've got a lot of women that are very soon going to be coming up to the main roster. So, yeah, they gutted the main roster to make room for a bunch of other women that are coming up. Cora Jade is gone, yes.
A number of them are ready, too. A number of them should be. Like, Stephanie Vercaer is a star.
Stephanie and Julia and
Jordan
Roxanne
Grace.
and Jordan. Yes, you can go on and on. They need to be on the main roster. So,
Lash legend.
Lash is coming up soon because they got rid of Jakara Jackson. And I think, like, Jakara Jackson, Gigi Dolan, Cora Jade, Eddie Thorpe, Oro Mensah, Javier, and Danny Palmer, all of them.
So Oro Mensah is not going to Evolve, Bryan?
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. All of those names that I just mentioned, I think the issue, and I would disagree, actually, about Oro Mensah. I haven't even seen Javier and Danny on TV. They must be in Evolve or something. But the point is, I talked about this a long time ago. The new thing with developmental is they hire so many people, and by the way, they got a big tryout coming. They hire so many people, and they have so many bodies in the performance center that the deal is every 6 months you get evaluated. Are you improving? If the answer is yes, you're safe. If after 6 months they look at you and they think this person is stagnant or this person is worse, that's it. You're out of here. And so I think every single one of those names fell victim to that. You know, Cora got hurt, and she came back, and she was not what she was before. So she regressed. You know, Gigi Dolan is probably at the exact same level that she was. Nothing against her. She's a good worker, but she's at the same level that she was before. Eddie Thorpe had pretty much, you know, he'd leveled out in NXT, and Jakara leveled out. You know, Oro Mensah, I actually was impressed with Oro Mensah, but apparently they weren't. And I haven't even seen Javier and Danny. Like, those are two of those names where they get cut and you thought they'd already been cut. And so that leaves us to, you know, the Coffees and Wolfgang, Gallus. And I don't know. I have nothing against them whatsoever, but it was like they were 3 guys. And they didn't really stand out. The audience never really got behind them as baby faces or heels. They would just show up every now and then and put the brakes on somebody who was getting over. I always wondered why, and now they're gone. And Riley Osborne. I thought Riley was pretty talented, but Riley was one of those folks that there was more to it than just all of that. And one of the big things was, you know, there are people that they want to go and help out Evolve, and I was told he did not want to go to Evolve, and he made it very well known. And he's definitely not going to Evolve now. He's not going anywhere. Well, he may go somewhere, but he's not going to NXT or Evolve or WWE because he was cut. So there were others that there were issues on top of everything I just mentioned, but that's the list of cuts. So there you go. Any comments on any of them? Are you
No,
there?
I mean, I'm sure the ones that want to continue wrestling will be fine. You know, I've already seen Carl Fredericks, Eddie Thorpe. I'm sorry, pick up a number of DJing gigs. So it looks like he's got some stuff on the horizon, and it looks like a lot of these, released wrestlers are looking to pick up independent dates. So you may see him around sooner than later.
Maybe in the ring with Tom. Back in a moment. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Granny, what have you got today?
Okay, everybody be quiet, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Google, tell us a joke.
What's the most musical part of a turkey? The drumsticks.
Ba-da-cha.
Hey, Google, you suck.
Well, I am still learning. What should we fix?
The guilt in the response.
Hey, Google, that's enough. Hey, Google.
Shut your hole.
Hey, Google.
Hi there, I'm listening.
Oh,
How
jeez.
can I help today?
Hey, Google. Shut up.
How can I be of service?
No, that won't quit.
God.
Hey, Google. No more. Stop.
This is how the war with the robots begins.
Name the hip-hop group that asked the question, are you down with OPP in 1992?
Granny, I will pay you $100 to read that again, please.
Yeah, can you read more?
Name the hip-hop group that asked the question, are you down with O period, P period, P period in
You
1992?
somehow made it better. Oh, period. P
Stop the show
period.
now. We have peaked.
P period.
Please send those edits to Brian's email.
Are you down with O period, P period, P period? On the show The Big Bang Theory, Leonard and Sheldon are both physicists. What is there? At what?
What just happened right there?
Physicist,
Yes.
Physicists?
Yes.
Yeah. I lost my track.
you lost your crack.
You were at Sisyphus.
In what city was Nipar
Brooks.
Shakur shot and killed?
Excuse me, say that again.
In what city was Tupac?
Two-pack. Vegas.
Vegas Strip.
Yep.
Join us!
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we got a trip to the Vegas Strip, by
Yeah.
the way.
You can get shot too.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Google, take a nap. Hey, Google, wake up. Hey, Google, are you awake?
Here's a YouTube music station called Are You Awake?
Hey, Google, stop.
Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Filthy Tom is joining us here today. And Filthy's going to be here Wednesday as well. And I won't say the name yet because I always somehow get cursed when I do this. But I think we're going to have a real fun name on the show on Wednesday. I'm in the middle of getting it set up right now. For those of you who are fans of women's wrestling. I'll just say that. Tonight on Raw, it is... I can't even believe I'm saying this. Rusev versus Otis.
What?
Yeah. Can you
I
believe
can't
it?
believe you said it either.
Rusev versus Otis is tonight on Monday Night Raw. What a world we live in. JD McDonough will face Penta, which should be awesome. Unless they work a match like Santos and Phoenix on Thursday. And Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, and Braun Breaker will appear. Do we have anything else? Anything else I need to know?
Oh, yes. Actually, Gunther's suspension has been lifted.
Well,
he will
yeah.
have a face-to-face with Pat McAfee.
What?
Tonight?
That's not going to end well.
The benevolent Pat McAfee.
Wow. Huh. Well, Tuesday on NXT, we have the number one contenders battle royal for the NXT Championship with a whole bunch of Evolve wrestlers in it, apparently.
Timothy Thatcher
is
who's right behind me. Look at that picture signed to me.
Yeah. Look at that. And we've also got the NXT Women's Title number one contenders match with Julia and Jordan Grace. And Dark State, 3 members of Dark State will face Hank and Tank and Joe Hendry. And Kalani Jordan will face Zarya. I talked about on this show I was going to start reviewing or watching and reviewing TNA. And then TNA managed to TNA itself, and the show was unavailable on Thursday like it's supposed to be, so I wasn't able to watch it for Friday. But I did go on the treadmill this weekend, and I watched most of this week's show. And while I have not finished it yet, I will say this. There is a match with Zach Wentz versus Moose. This freaking match was awesome. It was better than anything on Smackdown, and it was better than anything on Collision. This freaking match was so great, and these fans were going wild for this match. And we had a couple of people that went to the taping, and they were like, yep, crowd went nuts. So if you have it on like your DVR or if you have Impact Plus, go watch the Moose Zach Wentz. It was not all 10 of them. They've been actually doing pretty good crowds lately. Did 4,000 for that show, that pay-per-view. But if you've got it, go check that match out, and you will not regret it. Young Bucks and Ricochet versus Swerve, Speedball, and Mark Briscoe in our party match on Wednesday's Dynamite. Samoa Joe versus Claudio Castagnoli, and a sit-down interview with Jamie Hayter. She will not stand. All right. What do you think of SmackDown this week?
I guess it was there. It wasn't like a deplorable watch, but honestly, I couldn't tell you much from the show, except the standout thing to me was what happened to poor Pretty Deadly.
Yeah.
Do we have an update?
Well, we don't have an update, which usually means concussion. I'm not saying he has a concussion because I don't know, but all I can tell you is, and this is factual, anytime we don't get an injury update, it's usually a concussion. If he had just like lost a tooth or broken his nose or whatever, I mean, we usually get that information. But deadly silence for the update on poor was Elton Prince.
Yeah, it looked to me. Now there was a Pretty Deadly versus Fraxium match.
Yes,
and it looked to me like Nathan Frazier broke Prince's jaw. Like there was blood pouring out of his mouth.
Yeah, this was not his nose.
On a shooting star, a standing shooting star press, his left forearm kind of crushed Prince's face to me, it looked like. And there was a spot where he was getting pinned right then. And he really, his right shoulder may have been up, but he didn't kick out.
No, he didn't kick out at all.
But his shoulder was up because he was grabbing his face, holding it in place. And then they did a spot where he kind of got knocked to the floor. And we never saw him again in that match. So
they got him out of there, but if we're being completely fair, they didn't get him out of there fast enough. It was very obvious when he didn't kick out. When you don't kick out because you got your head landed on, you're not in a good state of mind. And they should have got him out like at that instant, but they let him like get up and they did something to get him to the corner, and then they got a tag and he got out of there. But we never saw him again. And then they had another screw up because I think in the back, they probably told the referee to take it home, and so she just counted a pin, and the wrestlers were thinking something different, take it home, like do an actual finish. So that got screwed up, but it was a disaster. But like Fraxium is so good and Pretty Deadly, they're like a good old school tag team. It was like as good a match as you're going to have with an absolute disaster going on in the middle of it.
Yeah, 8 minutes of all action, really. The other big stories coming out of SmackDown, I would say, we started off with LA Knight and Damian Priest arguing back and forth. They had a match scheduled for later on in the evening, but we got it to open the show. And then, as seems to be customary, we got a run-in.
Yeah, we did.
A run-in by Solo Sikoa. Ruined the match. Attacked Priest on the floor. Laid into Knight with punches. Priest came back. LA Knight came back, hit the BFT on Solo, and then Fatu ran out, took them out, and later on, it was revealed that due to Nick Aldis, Fatu would be defending his title against not only Damian Priest, but also LA Knight at Backlash. And then Solo Sikoa says, well, huh? What about Drew McIntyre? He's the number one contender. And Nick Aldis says, you know what? Good point. He will defend against all three men. Fatu walks off. Solo says, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to screw Fatu. And Nick Aldis says, no, that's what you're trying to do.
No, you are, he said.
Oh, sorry.
Close enough. But you know, I hate watching a good long match and having a stupid finish. But you can see what they're doing. I know some people have WWE Vince McMahon PTSD, but this writing is so much better than it used to be. And the example I'm going to give you is this, okay? This feud with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, okay? Drew McIntyre does these promos, and he explains, I have been screwed over and over and over again. And every time I've been screwed, you, Damian Priest, were either involved or you capitalized on it. And they literally go back and they show us all of this stuff. And it's like, my God, you didn't think about it at the time, but yeah, Damian Priest cashed in here. Yeah, Damian Priest got involved here. Like, Drew's a heel, and he gets heel heat, but he's not wrong. And you can see that it actually has happened exactly as he's explained it.
This
Well,
guy is not a heel.
Well, he's not, but he's probably turning babyface soon if you watch the pay-per-view match. He was doing a lot of babyface stuff. But the point is, like, all of this stuff that's irritating, like, oh my God, Solo just ran in, blah, blah, blah. This isn't like we don't know who we want to win. We booked a match, so we'll just have a screw job finish. No, there's a point to this. Solo, by running in twice now, has completely screwed Jacob Fatu. It was supposed to be Jacob Fatu against the winner last week, but Solo got involved, and it was a DQ. And then we had the match this week, and he got involved again. And because he got involved twice, all of these different things, Nick Aldis first signs a three-way. Solo says, well, hold on, it doesn't make any sense. So Nick Aldis goes, you're right, should be a four-way. So now Jacob is double screwed. And it's not like a coincidence. It's not like, oh, hey, let's do another four-way. No, there's a reason all of this happened in storyline. And someday, when Jacob Fatu turns babyface, he'll be able to say, Solo, you have been trying to screw me from day one. You ran in during that match with Drew McIntyre. You ran in during that match with LA Knight. You ended up opening your big mouth, and I got put in a four-way. It's all part of a longer story that they will reference in the future. So I like that, even if I hate DQs.
Yeah. Just to clarify, Solo didn't cause a DQ last week. Damian Priest did.
Well, he did.
The ref missed the Solo interference.
But yeah, Solo was involved, though.
Yeah, which also leaves the point that Solo was going to take out LA Knight, which would have led to Drew McIntyre winning anyways. So,
yes.
You know?
So this is not just stupid, hey, let's book a match where we don't want a winner and get a DQ out of it so we don't have to beat somebody. No, there's a specific reason that these matches are ending like this with these individuals setting up these matches and things further down the road, not just matches at the pay-per-view.
And also very similar to this is what I would say was the other big development on this show was the main event that took place with Tiffany and Jade taking on Nia Jax and Naomi, where they weaved all of the stories that these women currently have going on with each other, much like the LA Knight and
yeah, it's the same thing. Naomi comes out and she's like, dude, you guys have made my life miserable.
Like, she
you
said she
screwed me for years and years and years.
She threatened to throw Nia under a car.
Yeah.
I will throw you not on top of a vehicle, but under it.
Yeah, she threatened to kill her for what Tiffany and Nia had done to her. But she still teamed with Nia because they were facing the two baby faces. And again, at the end, I mean, you can see where they're going. It's going to be Jade versus Tiffany for the title, but Jade has to get past Naomi, even though she already beat her. Naomi's not done with her yet. I mean, there's good little pieces of the puzzle being put together here.
And Nia really, like, she had no problem just squishing Naomi during the match either and taking her out. It wasn't like she had any, any reservations about that. So always good to see Nia Jax back in action. And I did not expect the women's title program after WrestleMania to be Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. But hey,
well,
that's what they went with, and it's worked.
Well, I'll say this, as Dave pointed out, they've got that new show coming up, the behind-the-scenes look at writing and everything, and they had a commercial for it. And during the commercial, this was filmed months and months ago. There's like a piece of paper on a table or something.
It's on the whiteboard.
On a whiteboard or whatever. And if you zoom in, you can see what the lineup was for WrestleMania. And at the time, Jade was going to be the champion going into WrestleMania. But, of course, Jade ended up getting hurt. All the plans changed. Tiffany ended up the champion or whatever. But, Jade she's going to be the champion. And she's probably going to win it from Tiffany, but we'll see where they end up. What do you think about Alistair almost getting beat by The Miz?
Come on. Almost getting beat by The Miz.
Miz dominated this match, bro. He beat him and beat him and beat him.
What buttons are you trying to push? Are you trying to push your own buttons?
I could not believe Alistair Black, bro, I don't care if it was 50-50 or what. Alistair should have gone in and murdered The Miz. What are we doing having a competitive match? It's his freaking debut. What are we doing? He's going 50. Hey, let me ask you a question, even though you don't watch it. When Alistair Black was Malachi Black in AEW for 2 years, 3 years, whatever, okay? He didn't have a lot of singles matches. But can you name me one singles match he had that was as competitive as his match here with The Miz? You can't, because there wasn't one. Because this is freaking ridiculous that he went 50-50 with The Miz. God. Disgusted.
I don't think he went 50-50 with him. I think the match just went
it might
a while.
Have been 60-40.
Because Alistair
for
Black
The Miz.
made a moment out of every move he was doing.
Nah, Miz beat him all the way through that 4-minute break you fast-forwarded through. Yeah.
Can you blame me?
All right. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Chat GPT, Smackdown review starring Filthy Tom and Bryan Alvarez.
Welcome back, you miserable wretches, to another disaster of an episode of Figure 4 Daily, the only show on the internet that's guaranteed to make your brain rot faster than watching one of these Smackdown episodes. I'm your host, Filthy Tom Lawlor, joined by the man who somehow manages to be more useless than a rubber knife in a prison fight, Bryan Alvarez. What's up, Bryan?
Let's not pretend you're the shining star of this operation. You're like a broken pencil. Pointless. And I don't even know I'm still here with you. Anyway, let's get to this train wreck of a Smackdown. Spoiler alert, if you were expecting a wrestling show, you've come to the wrong place. It was like watching someone fall asleep in real time.
You should know all about falling asleep, Bryan, since you've been half dead for years now. If enthusiasm was an Olympic sport, you would get a participation medal for showing up, but still lose.
I could tell the crowd was hyped for Drew, and Nakamura's music is always a banger, but it was just nothing. It's like watching a 5-minute commercial for a product you don't even want to buy.
And I bet the only thing that was more uninspiring than this match was your entire existence. Let's move on before I fall asleep right here on this microphone.
Tom, you think because you're a former fighter, that makes you a wrestling expert? You'd probably lose in a match with a traffic cone. Look, Jade's a star, but Liv Morgan, she's the human version of a please wait screen.
Liv Morgan is about as useful as a sandbag at a swimming pool party, who's like trying to make a turkey sandwich with no bread.
It's like the crowd went from yay to who's got the remote. Can we change the channel?
Liv Morgan's biggest move is making the audience wish for better things. She's like the human version of a wet sock. Nobody wants it.
I get it, Tom. You don't like fun. You don't like energy. You don't like anything that's not just sitting on your couch in your pajamas complaining.
More of the same.
Oh, we're back to more of the same, huh? Just like your wrestling career. More of the same, but somehow still a disaster.
Well, that's it, folks. SmackDown 2025 was more like SmackDown 2005. Same old stuff, same old disappointments. Join us next time when we tear apart something else for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, next time, Tom, maybe we'll actually have some real wrestling to talk about instead of whatever disaster this was. Until then, just remember, don't listen to Tom and don't watch SmackDown unless you hate yourself.
Whatever. It's your funeral.
What? I've never been so embarrassed doing this show as I was for the last 5 minutes. God. First off, it's TNA Plus and not Impact Plus. But second off, this fella Ken here says, Bryan suddenly hating 50-50 matches is hilarious. I got a question for you, Ken. Are you acting stupid or are you actually stupid? Listen, there's no one answer to how a match should be. Every match is different. So, for example, should Aleister Black make his big return to WWE after 4 years and go 50-50 with The Miz, who, by the way, hasn't had a singles win on WWE TV since April of 2024? That's over a year ago. No, he shouldn't go 50-50 with the guy. However, does Toni Storm really need to be going 50-50 with Lady Frost? No, she should be smashing Lady Frost. Should the Hangman and Will Ospreay go 50-50 at the pay-per-view in the finals of the Owen Cup, or should they go like 90-10? Well, they should go 50-50, right? Sometimes a match should not go 50-50. Sometimes a match should go 50-50. You're acting stupid if you can't, like, differentiate between when it's important to go 50-50 and when you shouldn't go 50-50. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't mind a 50-50 match when it's the right match. I do mind when it's the wrong match. Sometimes one person needs to be pushed as a star over someone who's a geek. And when they go 50-50, they both end up geeks. Do you know what I'm saying, Tom?
Yeah, I got you. So what you're saying is you prefer a 90-10 split on the radio show?
I hate
you would do.
But I'll see you Wednesday. Wrestling Observer Live.